Okay, so a massive geopolitical bombshell has just been dropped, and it's kicking off this huge, high stakes mystery. You've got a world leader making a shocking accusation on one side, and the entire global scientific community on the other. And right in the middle of it all is a really chilling question. Can somebody actually detonate a nuclear bomb in secret? So let's unpack this. And here's the claim that started it all, coming from former President Donald Trump. He's not just pointing a finger at one country, but he's saying multiple world powers, Pakistan included, are secretly testing nukes. Now, this just completely throws a wrench in what we all thought we knew, because pretty much everyone assumed North Korea was the only one still doing this. So that brings us right to the heart of it, the big question we're tackling here. Is there any truth to this? Is it even possible for a country to set off a nuclear weapon right under the noses of the entire world's monitoring systems? You know, this didn't just come out of nowhere. It actually connects back to some whispers that started floating around back in May 2025. There was this series of small tremors near Kirana Hills, which, by the way, is a known nuclear site in Pakistan. The event was codenamed Operation Sindoor, and officially they were just called earthquakes, but it had a lot of experts scratching their heads. Now, Trump's statement has basically thrown gasoline all over that simmering fire. All right, so let's just say, for the sake of argument, that a test did happen. How in the world could you hide something like that? Well, that brings us to the first part of our investigation, the theory of the hidden test. I mean, seriously, hiding an explosion that can level a city, it sounds completely wild, right? Like something straight out of a spy movie. But the science behind how it could be done is, well, it's both fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying. The key word here is decoupling, and it's a pretty clever idea. Think of it like this. Instead of just burying a bomb, you find a massive, pre-existing cave deep underground. Then you set off the device inside that huge pocket of empty space. That space acts like a giant cushion, a shock absorber that muffles the blast, kind of like how soundproofing foam deadens a noise. So here's how it works, step by step. First, boom, the device goes off inside that big cavern. Second, the shock waves, the things that would normally shake the ground, they hit the cavern walls and get muffled way, way down. So what do the sensors around the world see? They don't see a nuke. They just see a tiny little tremor, the kind of thing that looks exactly like a small, totally natural earthquake. It's like a magic trick for geologists. Okay, so there are really two main theories on the table for how this could be done. You've got decoupling, which we just talked about. That's the make a big explosion look small trick. But there's another, maybe even simpler way. Just use a really, really small nuke. We're talking a low-yield device. It's so tiny that its blast just gets lost. It blends right in with all the other little rumbles the Earth makes every single day. But okay, that's the theory of how it could be done. What about the evidence? What does the actual data say? Well, this is where the story takes a big turn. Let's get into the scientific rebuttal. You have to remember, the world has this incredible network of sensors. It's like a global alarm system, constantly listening for any sign of a nuclear test. So when those tremors shook Kirana Hills, what did that system actually hear? Well, the verdict from the big players, we're talking the IAEA, that's the UN's nuclear watchdog, and even seismologists right next door in India is pretty clear. The evidence just doesn't add up. First off, and this is a big one, they found zero detectable radiation. That's a huge red flag. But the other crucial piece of evidence is buried deep in the seismic data itself. And this right here, this is basically the scientific smoking gun. Think of these seismic waves like a fingerprint. A nuclear bomb leaves a very specific three-part seismic fingerprint. It's unique. But what they recorded at Kirana Hills, it only had two parts. And that two-part signature, that's the textbook classic fingerprint of a natural earthquake. The prints just don't match. It's not the signature of a bomb. Okay, so case closed, right? The science says it was an earthquake. But not so fast, because even if it wasn't a test, the accusation itself has created a crack in the system, and it's forcing us to look at a much bigger picture. This is where we pivot from geology to geopolitics. If the evidence is so shaky, why would anyone make such a provocative claim? What's the angle? What's the strategic play here? Well, one theory is that this isn't really about Pakistan at all. It might be about giving the United States a reason to start up its own nuclear testing program again. Think about it. If you can publicly claim that your rivals are cheating, it gives you the perfect political cover to say, hey, we can't be the only ones playing by the rules anymore. But whatever the reason behind the claim, this whole episode has put the world's nuclear watchdog, the CTBTO, under a massive spotlight. Their entire job is to catch these things. So when someone even suggests that a test could slip through the cracks, it forces everyone to ask a really uncomfortable question. Is our global alarm system actually foolproof? Are there loopholes we don't know about? And that leaves us with this final, unsettling thought. This is so much bigger than just one political squabble. It's a fundamental test of the global framework we have to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. Because if the answer to, can tests be hidden, is even a maybe, then a much more dangerous question follows. Is the system we've all relied on for decades actually strong enough to work? And the answer to that question has implications for every single one of us.